What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, back for another podcast. But today it's a special episode because I don't just have one guest; I have two, both friends of the program. I'd say on my right here, I've got my boy Justin Lynch, aka Bhawkmemes. I'll have his YouTube. I mean, we'll be collabing this, I'm sure, on YouTube. And then also I'll link his Instagram, Bhawkmemes, in the description. And then on my left, it's Mr. OviClapBomb making his return to the channel. I'll have his X account linked in the description of this video. Gentlemen, we've got a lot to talk about today. This was just going to be like an Olympic preview, Olympic prediction video. That was my plan. I hit both of these gentlemen up a couple days ago. That was the idea. And then since then, a massive fiasco has taken place in Blackhawks land, involving the Blackhawks' supposed, what I thought was an unprotected first-round pick via the Florida Panthers in the Seth Jones, Spencer Knight trade last year. But we found out a couple days ago via friendly neighborhood Frank Seravalli that pick is indeed not top 10 protected, or it is indeed top 10 protected. And if the Florida Panthers finish in the bottom 10 of the NHL this year, it will stay with them. The pick will belong to them, and the Blackhawks will get a 2027 pick instead. Absolutely nightmarish situation for the Blackhawks. It's been a year. And before I throw the floor over to you guys, I do just want to mention that, like, this situation has pissed me off very much. And a lot of people on Twitter over the past, 48 hours or so since this information came out have been upset with various people. Frank Seravalli, which, like, reasonably so, has gotten most of the heat. And I think that's fair because the way he kind of went about this whole situation, also, like, conveniently it happening on the same day that he's dropping his new website, is infuriating. But I'm also upset with the Blackhawks organization, more so than, like, the Blackhawks beat writers, if I'm being honest with you, because I don't know about you guys. Like, I thought this was just, like, common information. At the time that this trade happened and all the information was being reported, the condition that we thought had to do with the Calgary Matthew Tkachuk trade. And if that trade, whatever, happens and it gets bounced, the condition was that the Blackhawks would get the 2027 pick if the Calgary pick got pushed back. That was the condition we all thought it was, not that it was protected if Florida falls in the bottom 10 of the league. And so everybody in the Blackhawks media sphere, us included, have been operating under the false notion that it was an unprotected pick. And the Blackhawks apparently knew the whole time that wasn't true. So if you see all these people, like, not just like our measly little social media accounts and YouTube channels, but like even people like CHGO that are directly related to the Blackhawks organization, that have ties to the organization, are talking about this pick like it's the Blackhawks regardless. Why is the Blackhawks organization not saying anything, guys? Like, am I tweaking there? Should we all just be upset with Frank Seravalli?
Yeah, it's one of the more perplexing situations I've ever seen. I've never really seen anything like it. It's just a real shame because all those late night tankathon simulations, I guess they were all for nothing. I don't know. That's a Blackhawks fan's best friend the past 5 years, but yeah, a little sus, especially I think given the fact the day that his new website releases. I don't know. Seems like a ploy to get some clicks there, if you ask me. Not to be a conspiracy theorist, but hopefully next time it doesn't take a year to figure out that information. Now, none of it really makes sense to me. I don't know how we have the answers. Just frustrating. Yeah.
Ovi, your initial thoughts?
It's definitely perplexing, and you just really wonder what happened to allow this to happen. I don't know. Like you say, the beat reporters that are in and around the Blackhawks, they have no idea. The websites that hold this kind of information, that track the stipulations and the contracts of the league, wasn't there. The only place it seemingly existed was in this one Daily Face-Off article where the wording was like still a little bit kind of sketchy. So like it wasn't clear at all. Fans have been operating for quite some time, very openly and evidently talking about how, hopefully we end up with Ivan Stenberg from this pick, or, what happens if Chicago ends up with Gavin McKenna from the Florida pick. And like, that was never rebutted once. All of a sudden you get Frank Seravalli being like, hey, top 10 protected. So it's like, was this on purpose because they thought the Blackhawks thought that it would never be in this position, that Florida, there was no way Florida was even going to be in that position? So why mention it? Was it just like complacency, or someone just dropping the ball and forgetting? Like, how the fuck does this happen? Because from an outside point of view, from just like a sports fandom point of view, it's a bad look for the league in a sense. Like, I feel like the transparency in these deals is incredibly important. And especially for guys like us, where like, as Blackhawks fans, we're living and dying by, all these little extra lottery chances and things like that. So the idea that all of a sudden is kind of just stripped away in a year where it looked like we might actually walk away with 2 top 10 picks, it is definitely questionable.
Big deal, especially in this draft class as well. Like, this 2026 draft class has been touted to be amongst the best, a long time, probably since 2023. So the difference between having 2 top 10 picks versus 1 that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, dude. And like, a couple things that you just mentioned, Ovi, like if the Hawks have that Florida pick and it's unprotected and it's ours, it's like the Hawks' current spot where they're at right now, they have like a 7.5% chance of winning the lottery. But then if they have the Florida pick, it's another 3.5% chance of winning the lottery. Like, that's a big difference there. And so the Hawks are like completely screwed out of that. And then the point you just made about like the nitty gritty, like lawyer talk information about these trades, the NHL does not release. Nobody has access to that. The only people who have access to that information are like the chosen one insiders that the NHL selects, guys like Frank Seravalli, Pierre LeBrun, Elliot Friedman, guys like that in general. It's not even like CHGO. It's not Ben Pope. It's certainly not us. It's not Scott Powers or Mark Lazarus, right? Those guys are, it's all just funneling from the top. So like, those top guys get the information, and then what they report and what they say, that's the information that the beat reporters like the Ben Popes and the Mark Lazarus and the Scott Powers use. And so when I saw people like attacking Ben Pope and Scott Powers and these guys, I'm like, it's not even their fault either. Like, how could they have possibly known if this trade happens and then all the top insiders are saying the same thing, that the condition only has to do with the Matthew Tkachuk trade, and that's the condition on it. Like in that Daily Face-Off article that you brought up too, with like the weird wording, it was like, it's conditional. This unprotected pick is conditional only in name. And then it says it at the bottom. So it's not an unprotected, like, that completely is false. It's not an unprotected pick if it's protected, if they're a top or a bottom 10 team. Like, that is the definition of a protected pick. So it's like, that's incorrect too. It was just a failure by everyone. And so that, for me, is what's so frustrating with the Blackhawks organization, is like, if all the insiders got this wrong and all your local media are saying the same stories, you should step in. Like, the Chicago Blackhawks organization has hundreds of employees. Like, they've got PR departments and head strategy personnel. And like, I was just on the Blackhawks LinkedIn looking at all their different like positions. It is a corporate conglomerate. Like, there are so many people in the Blackhawks organization not related to hockey ops, like people that can and should be paying attention to what's being spoken about the team. Like, Justin, I remember we were on a podcast last year that like, we kind of knew that there were people from the organization at least aware of what we were doing, aware of what we were saying. They might not have been watching everything we were doing, but like, for me, like, CHGO is like the most obvious thing, because it's like, CHGO has direct ties to the organization. I don't watch CHGO, to be honest with you, but like, every once in a while I'll tap in and see what they're talking about. And those guys were just as clueless as we were. And so if that's the case and you're the Blackhawks organization, how the fuck do you not have anybody paying attention to this stuff and think, hey, wait, is that is that pick protected or not? You know, like it's too important to be swept under the rug. It's too important to be missed, in my opinion. And yeah, I didn't make a video about this, but I think we just like, I had to express that because I watched a little CHGO last night. They did like a special yesterday, and I was just getting pissed off all over again because it's like, yeah, I'm annoyed with Frank Seravalli, but I am annoyed with the Blackhawks organization too.
That's ultimately where it comes from too, is from the Blackhawks. Because like if no one else knew and they knew ultimately the information, there was some type of failure to disclose somewhere. It's more like it's why. Like how does that happen? Did somebody drop the ball? Was there some paperwork that didn't get to Katie's office? Was this just like, yeah, we won't even have to deal with this, so we won't even mention it. But like if this is mentioned day one, when the trade goes down, everybody is still saying, "Oh, what a great trade! We got Spencer Knight for a guy we thought we might have to buy out, or we thought we might get a whole lot less, and we're getting a top 10 pick or a top 10 projected pick." But because of the way that it went down, all of a sudden there's this like negative twist on it that like, oh, we had it and we lost it, and this is Kyle Davidson's fault, and this is a bad look on the organization. This is a bad look on Kyle Davidson. So the people who already kind of have a negative framework or lens on what's going on,
they're loving it.
They take something like this and they just run with this. So it's an unfortunate situation. Like I said, the trade was still a fucking great trade, boys. Let's not act like Spencer Knight being on this team isn't a godsend in a lot of ways. So that, first and foremost, that's what's getting me through it all. But yeah, no, totally. Somebody dropped the ball, and we are the ones who have to pay the piper. So,
Justin, and that's a good point. Justin, do you like, now looking at that trade? Obviously, you're going to look at it a little differently. If the Panthers end up finishing 9th from the bottom, and the Hawks' first round pick ends up getting moved to the following year, but like even with that being the case, you're still happy with that trade.
Yeah, no, I mean, not just the fact, we're about getting Spencer Knight, but just the fact we don't have to deal with Seth Jones anymore. So there's two positives there. So whether it's a 2026 first or a 2027 first, it's really not that deep in the day. That's not the important part of the trade. The important part of the trade is getting our franchise netminder, which we didn't have before. And he's proven himself this year to be that guy. And not having to watch Seth Jones every night is a plus as well. So I still feel pretty good about the trade. I think at the end of the day, it's still a win-win trade for both sides. So I don't think this really changes that. But with that being said, having an extra top 10 pick potentially would have been nice. But oh well, guess we'll have to wait for the 2027 tankathon Sims. But hopefully we'll have to care about it next year.
Yeah, I remember when the trade happened, just being ecstatic. Partially because I did like call for it like a week before on Justin and I's podcast. We had Greg Boysen on from CHGO, and I did that as a mock trade. I was like, Greg, what do you think about Jones my original trade was Jones to the Panthers for 50% retained for Spencer Knight. And Kyle Davidson ended up doing whatever it was, 25% retained.
I thought we might have to buy the guy out. I was.
I know. So that's a great point. Like for all the fans tweaking, all the KD haters, like respectfully shut the fuck up. Like that was a masterclass trade, regardless of the valid criticisms you might have had for other moves that KD's made, whether it be in free agency or in the draft. That move is like undeniably one of the best moves in recent Blackhawk history. I think without question. And also just like seeing the way Spencer Knight has performed this year, I think I didn't realize even at the time how big Spencer Knight was going to be for this organization, because he is just so damn good and looking like he's going to be a top 5 netminder on the planet for the next decade. So like you don't even need the pick in that trade for it to be a win for the Blackhawks. And obviously Florida got their cup, whatever. Anything else you guys feel like you need to say about this subject before we kind of pivot to the Olympics, or have we done it?
I think I'm ready for Olympic talk. I don't know. Just talking about this is getting me annoyed. So yeah, I gotta talk about something more positive, right? Yeah,
Revisit it once we see where the pick actually is.
exactly.
Yeah.
It might not matter. It might not matter if they
Yeah,
don't finish. Bottom
exactly.
line.
We'll
Yeah.
get that 11th overall pick, and we'll be smiling like it's fucking
Perfect.
Christmas morning.
And
Yeah.
whatever, it's more stuff for us to talk about on our respective platforms anyway. So
Exactly.
yeah, I was just getting riled up last night for a crazy way to go to bed too. It's just like at midnight, just like watching YouTube videos and looking at old tweets about this and just getting pissed off for no reason. Insane way to try to fall asleep.
I'm being gaslit right now. Like it's like I'm being gaslit that we knew about this.
Yeah, dude, it was like the way. Hold up, yeah, and actually, before we move, I do have this, and I tweeted something about this. But like whatever. Like he explains it. New site. I should block this out. Hockey 24/7. Not to give him any sort of promo because it's just maddening. But for me, the most frustrating thing about this whole article was just the end. Perhaps the better question: did anyone really think that GN William Francis Zito Jr., attorney and Yale alum who turned down Harvard, would not cover his team's downside even in a season no one could have saw coming? Like, zip it up when you're done, Frank. Oh my God, what a maddening, smug ass thing to say at the end of it. Like, you're at fault here. You are at fault here. You're on every other Blackhawks fucking broadcast. Did anybody think William Francis III would, like, shut up. Shut up. You dropped the ball. Your original tweet, I hope I don't even have it here. It's not even important, but like the original tweet being like, he didn't mention that it was a protected pick in his original tweet.
The fact that like these places that hold that information, that their job is to like hold contract stipulations, none of them fucking had it. Obviously the information wasn't passed along. And like Frank Seravalli, like I was just poking fun at him because I look at it more as like it's probably the Blackhawks' fault, but Frank claiming that he like knew about this all along and that like we're all schmucks.
Taking no accountability.
No, we didn't.
Buddy, you're just whiffing your own farts here. Like,
yeah, no one's buying that. No one's buying it.
If he would have just been like, "Well, my bad," yeah, it's here now. Slippery situation. He would have accepted it. But the fact that he's just like, "Yeah, I was always there." No, he's pulling out fucking Zito's full name like they're boys like that. That's
Yeah, he tried to avoid all responsibility for it. It's like, we have the tweets. Frank, like when you originally tweeted out this tweet, you didn't include that very important condition. If you're trying to get the story out as fast as possible, that's fine. I understand. It's your job to go back and say, "Hey, didn't include this, by the way." He never did that. He never did that on any of his shows. He's come out and acted like he said that originally. He acts like his original reporting was correct. It wasn't. Like, an apology has to be there when you're talking about, if he was just like, "This is something that I totally missed and others missed, and like, I apologize, but this pick is top 10 protected. I didn't realize it at the time, but here it is." Like, don't pretend like you knew it the whole time. And if you did, that's even worse. Like, that's worse if you knew it the whole time. So
it sucks even more too, because this is something that greatly affects us Blackhawks fans, and yet meanwhile, I guarantee you, most Florida Panthers fans don't give a shit. It really
no, they're like, "Oh my gosh!" Like yeah. That's what they're all like. "Oh my gosh, this gives me so much more reason to like watch the rest of the year. Like, we're actively rooting for a tank. Like, I hope these guys get healthy. I hope they start shutting down their top players, because as they should. Like, who cares if the Panthers miss this playoff run? Because I mean, look, it's not even an excuse. It's just reality. It's like, you lose your best player in Barkov for the entire season. You had Matthew Tkachuk out for half the season. Bennett, Marchand, all these guys have been injured. Like, the blue line's been injured. Seth Jones is out. Like, the entire lineup has been injured throughout the year. They've played more hockey than anyone over the past 3 years, being in the Stanley Cup 3 times in a row. No one's going to bat an eye if they miss the playoffs, given the injury situation this year, and then come back next year healthy and then go on another run. Like, no one's going to give a fuck. And so now if you get a top 10 pick out of it, it's just like the most Panthers shit ever. Like, it really is. Like, of course.
Not going to help that reputation at all. Yeah.
So just good for the Florida Panthers, bad for everyone else, honestly. All right, gentlemen, let's do it. Let's shift our focus over to the Olympics. We're starting to see. I was at the gym, just starting to see some content from USA Hockey. I don't follow Hockey Canada, so I don't know if content's been coming out.
Oh, boys, they released the lines for their initial lines for Team Canada. Weird fucking lines, man.
Okay, I should have that up. I should pull that up.
We can get into it, but the initial lines tweeted out by I think Mark Masters had me. I think it was Celebrini, McDavid, Tom Wilson. Line 1.
What the fuck?
Wilson doing up there?
Yeah, and then it's like Nick Suzuki, Brad Marchand, to Nathan McKinnon.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'm seeing that. Third line Crosby with Stone and Marner. And then Horvat on the fourth line with Hagel and Reinhart. Very interesting.
Did they just throw those names in a blender or something? How did they figure that out?
Man, they must have it must just be like day one. Let's put McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon all on separate lines and just see how it looks. Because
interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe that's the move for like the group stage and stuff. But like, I'm sorry, when I'm talking about like the lines for Team USA, I'm not thinking about their matchup against Italy. I'm thinking about how is this roster, how is this lineup going to beat Canada? I'm really not concerned about anything else. Team USA should be able to beat everyone else comfortably, assuming that they're healthy and ready to go. Like it shouldn't be a question. And same for Canada. Like I know Sweden's lineup's got a lot of NHL talent. Same with Finland, but this Canadian team should run through everyone. And so I think that's kind of going to be the lens that we're all talking about these lineups. But the US team kind of started putting out their lineups too. And they like all the reporters couldn't figure out like what the bottom six was, but the top six was pretty clear. And it was Gensel, Matthews, and Boldy on the first line, which I absolutely love. And then it was Matthew. It was Kachuk's with Eichel on the second line, and so that makes more sense than Canada.
That worked well last year.
Yeah, but Ovi, do you think that like lineup, like, is that probably just a group stage thing? Like
for Canada?
Would you want that Canadian lineup going into a game against the United States in a gold medal matchup?
There's some weird decisions. I like when I initially saw it, I'm like that they've got to just have McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, their three centermen, put them on different lines and just see who can fit in with them. And as like just an initial kind of, I don't know, icebreaker. I don't like these lines initially. I think Stone and Marner with Crosby is too slow. I think Crosby would be better with some guys who can really skate on the perimeter. I'd like to see McKinnon and Crosby play together, just especially as a guy from Nova Scotia. You'd like to see the two boys together, maybe throw Marchand on there, but that might be not fast enough. I also think Reinhart and McDavid should be stapled together.
I would switch Wilson and Reinhart.
That's
early reactions. Put Sid on the second line with McKinnon.
Yeah, switch Suzuki, Crosby, switch Reinhart, Wilson, and then I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But the thing is would because if Crosby was playing wing, he'd probably be on the left. No.
Yeah, he probably would be.
And then put like Marchand on the right
or Marner or something like. I would. But I would definitely like Crosby up a little more and Wilson up in the top line is an interesting
call.
Yeah,
that's a bold strategy.
Yeah.
Well, hey, look, I'm not going to lie. I see those as a U.S. fan. I start licking my chops a little bit because I like the idea of the U.S. stacking their talent in the top six. I think that's what you got to do. I think that Matt Boldy being in the top six for the U.S. Justin, do you agree? Matt Boldy in the top six for the U.S. over Jack Hughes?
Yeah, at the moment. I mean, Hughes was pretty quiet in the Four Nations last year, so I think Boldy's game would probably translate better with those two. So I'm not really opposed to that. I thought he was really good in that tournament last year. Definitely one of the standouts for sure. So I'm not opposed to it.
I got to say, as a Canadian guy who goes through a lot of Canadian media, obviously, with Sportsnet, TSN, that type of stuff, I think Matt Boldy is personally one of the most underrated players in the NHL.
I agree.
Just flies totally under the radar. When people talk about Minnesota, they go to Kaprizov, they go to Quinn Hughes now. But Boldy, man, he's just been he's a stud. He's a great goal scorer, big body. He'll be able to play that heavy game that Garrett wants to play much better than Jack Hughes. I also think that can be said a little bit with Gensel. I'm in love with Gensel and his game. I had Gensel penciled in on the top line right away. So yeah, as a Canadian, I think that's a sneaky good top line with two names that might fly under the radar for a lot of folks.
Completely agree. And all three of those guys, super solid two-way. And so if that's the line that's matched up against the McDavid Celebrini line, like, give it to me. Let's go. Like,
I love that second line too.
Like, Matt Boldy maybe doesn't have the same kind of offensive. He's a fantastic goal scorer, but you might be like, oh, like, obviously Jack Hughes has a more complete offensive package than Matt Boldy, but God, do I trust Matt Boldy a whole hell of a lot more on the ice in the important moments of a game against a McDavid, against a McKinnon. Like, I want Matt Boldy on the ice as much as possible. And so, like, for me, that's when I'm comparing the US and Canada lineups, like obviously Canada have like the top three players, right? Like, I think it's fair to say that if you stack the US and Canadian lineups against each other, the top three players amongst those two teams are McDavid, McKinnon, Makar. Like, I think that's fair to say. I'm comfortable saying that as a USA fan. For me, where I like get all my confidence from is the two-way ability of like most of these guys on USA. Like, you also think about guys like Dylan Larkin and Jack Eichel, like these two-way centermen, Austin Matthews. Like, that's where I get my confidence and belief that, hey, like they should be able to beat Canada if they play at their best. Yeah, I'm pumped. And then leadership groups, Canada, it's Sid is the captain, no shocker, and then the assistant alternate captains are McDavid and Makar. How do you feel about that, Ovi?
I mean, it's the same as last year, so it's not like a huge surprise. Obviously, Sid is Captain Canada. There's no doubts about that. Nobody in that locker room is questioning whether or not that should be a decision. I think the only question is probably Makar. And there's probably some folks who think that maybe it should be Nathan McKinnon instead of Makar. I think the rationale behind that is simply they want a captain back on defense. However, I think it's funny kind of to think about the fact that McKinnon is an absolute psychopath. And it's best if he doesn't have a letter or have the pressure of a letter. I have man, love Nathan McKinnon. I have a close buddy of mine who's first cousins with him. And he told me a story that McKinnon lost it or laid into Makar because he had Subway.
Not the
most believable thing ever.
Yeah, he's locked the fuck in, and it's warranted because of the caliber of player he is. But you know, it kind of makes sense that the leadership is the way it is. I'll say on the flip side, again from an outside perspective, as a guy who has seen his name dragged through Canadian media since I was a teenager, Austin Matthews being the captain of Canada, of the United States, not a fan of. For a guy that has shown zero
clutch ability.
Just the demeanor in the playoffs just is not one I've seen of a true captain. Can it get done? And is he a great two-way centerman and an absolutely skilled player? Yeah. But, you know, there's some other guys on that team that I think would embody the captain role a little bit more. The Tchucks. I think both the Tchucks would be a better option.
All right. Let's not let this Canadian just he's trying to put a spanner in. He's trying to stir up drama. I see what you're trying to do there, Ovi.
I agree with him though.
Okay,
The Chinese with the C. Come on, man. I'm still pissed off with that Four Nations performance last year. He had 3 or 4 chances to bear that gold medal game, but couldn't do it. Couldn't solve Binnington. But yeah, I mean, one playoff series win in 9 years as our captain? I agree. I would give it either to Chuck, Eichel, Quinn Hughes. Like, there are probably 5 guys in the team I probably would have given it to before Matthews. But I understand, though, the symbolism why they gave it to him. he has a chance
also,
to redeem himself from last year. So hopefully he can do that. But yeah, not too thrilled with him having to see. But it's not that deep.
yeah, exactly. It's not that important. There's tons of leaders on that team who will step up if need be.
Yeah. I'll give the Homer USA take here. Look, with the situation with Matthews being the captain last year at Four Nations, you're not going to strip him of that title and make it a story it doesn't have to be. We saw it in Leafland where you stripped John Tavares and made Austin Matthews the captain. I think that was stupid to begin with. Like when you look at Colorado, like even when Gabe Landeskog is out for 2 years and like maybe might not ever come back, Nathan McKinnon was not the captain. Like it was, and so I think that in general is like, you can say all you want that it's like not a big deal, but it is a big deal to these guys. And so Austin Matthews, who's clearly dealt with, the mental side of the game and maybe it's gotten the better of him in some situations. And maybe he hasn't been the most clutch guy in the world. I don't think that if you're trying to get the best out of 34, I don't think stripping him of the captaincy to give it to Matthew Tkachuk is the right thing to do. Now, if you could go back a couple years and you said, Lee, you're the general manager of Team USA, not Bill Guerin, would Matthew Tkachuk be my captain? Yes, without question. Matthew Tkachuk is the most vocal leader in that room. He's been there. He's done it. He's won Stanley Cups. He's calm in those moments. Obviously, Matthew Tkachuk would be my captain, but that's not the situation. So Matthew Tkachuk gets the A, and then Charlie McAvoy gets the A on defense. And I'm happy with that, to be honest with you. Like, Charlie McAvoy is a complete fucking warrior. You could say Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes is going to be like, neurodivergent, like slightly autistic, staring off into a corner in the locker room. I think it makes more sense. Yeah, like, and no hate. Like, Quinn Hughes is a fucking dog. It's just like, give it to Charlie McAvoy, the guy playing with his jaw hanging off after taking that hit against Florida, looking like, oh my gosh, he looks like he's melting. Have you seen his face?
Yeah,
it's disturbing. I mean, he's still going to play, 24 minutes a game at the Olympics, I'm sure. But
yeah, that pairing worries me as a Canadian, like Hughes McAvoy.
That's nasty.
The U.S. defense is very impressive.
Yeah, I think beyond Cale Makar just being bar none the best defender in the tournament, like Canada's defense it scares me a little bit, and there's just
I think of Drew Doughty being there.
Like every pairing, there's one guy I'm kind of like Taves, Taves, and then the Morrissey Parenko. It's like Parenko, and Harley Doughty is fucking 40 years old. Like, what's he going to be looking like? But the defense and the goaltending on USA is scary.
I tweeted something out this morning. The only thing that would make me feel a little bit better against the Steve pairing, and Justin might disagree with this, and Ovi, you might disagree with this too.
Boy.
But so the second pairing is going to be the Slavin Faber pairing, which I thought maybe they do Faber Hughes, just since we've been seeing them work so well together in Minnesota since that trade. But I think going into the Four Nations last year, I was like, top pairing has to be McAvoy Hughes. They just it feels like their games will complement each other so well, and we didn't get to see it last year. So I'm not upset about that. Like, I think that pairing is going to be fucking gross, but Faber Hughes would have made sense, but we're going to get Faber Slavin as that second pairing. And then the third pairing's Werenski Hanifin. And I tweeted man, I would feel even better about this if we had Seth Jones, shot guy on that right side with Werenski. We saw that pairing do so well in Columbus before Stan Bowman, domestic terrorists, went out and acquired him from Columbus. I don't know, Justin, thoughts on that? Seth Jones?
Unfortunately, I agree. Like Seth Jones' best hockey has always been with Zach Werenski, both with the Blue Jackets and a little bit the World Championships of USA as well. So I can't disagree with that. Unfortunately, I want to disagree with it, but you gotta give Seth Jones his props where it's due. At the same time, though, I'm not that upset. I won't have to watch him play Olympic hockey. So at the end of the day, not too upset about it. Yeah.
All right. What do you guys think? Should we do some predictions and player award stuff? I mean, I guess we could talk about Sweden-Finland lineup a little bit. Dude, what I will say about the Sweden lineup, and I would love to get your guys' opinions on this. So guys like Connor Bedard getting snubbed from Canada, guys like Jason Robertson getting snubbed from from USA. Fans are upset. People are kind of scratching their heads. You know, these offensive, super dynamic players getting scratched. And the rebuttal from like the GMs and all this stuff is you're not building an all-star team. You're building a hockey team that needs to win. You know, you need guys that can play different roles. For me, Sweden is like the antithesis of that. Like, you're going to be having Mika Zibanejad and Lucas Raymond in your bottom six. You're going to have Carlson and Hedman, you know, offensive defensemen playing big minutes for Sweden. Like, this is when I look at the Sweden lineup, like, yeah, they've got some sick guys, but it's like, to me, that's more like an all-star game. And so if Sweden does well at this tournament, like if Sweden is somehow finds their way in that gold medal game and one of US or Canada doesn't, I think you can shove that narrative so far up your ass for the future. Like, take the bet. Do you guys kind of understand where I'm going with that? Like,
like this is the best players in the world. Like, why are we 1980 Miracle on Icing this? Like, it doesn't have to be that deep, that complicated. So I think Sweden's probably the one country that could probably take it to USA, Canada. I think Finland would too if they had Barkov, but they don't have Barkov. Yeah, I think that's a loss you can't really make up for. But Sweden, I think, could definitely take it to them. Yeah.
Yeah, man, they've got a good defense, man. Looking here with some Dahlin, Forsling, Hedman, Anderson, yeah, you know, and then the Gustafsson could catch fire. They've got a good team here, you know, and you know, they go in and play by committee. You know, one of USA or Canada underestimates them, which, you know, is bound to happen at least one game for both clubs this Olympics. They could definitely do some damage, but they'd be the only other team I'm like legitimately worried about. Other than that, I don't see anyone else meddling, barring catching lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, I just like with that Sweden forward group, like there's so much talent, but like in maybe this will be the difference than the Four Nations is they'll have more time to figure that out with the group stage. And honestly, their group is a little tougher given that they have Finland in it. So it's like you're gonna have a real game in that group stage to kind of figure things out. And so maybe you can kind of figure out the depth chart a little easier than you did at Four Nations, but like my concern with that forward group was just like, you've got all these finesse skill perimeter guys. Like who's going to be your meat and potatoes in the bottom six? Who's going to be your top dogs in the top six?
It ain't going to be Elias Pettersson, I'll tell you that.
Well, what if it is Petey, you know? Like, what if, like, that's what I'm saying is, like, is Elias Pettersson your fourth line center, you know? Like, what are you doing?
Playing lately, maybe, yeah.
And so I think maybe for that reason, I'd be a little more bullish on Finland. And, like, I know obviously your best player in Sasha Barkov being out, that hurts. But, like, with the center depth that Finland does have, does it almost, like, make it a little more simple, like kind of what the roles are and who's sliding into what spots? Because it's like you still have Aho and Hintz to play the center position. You're not going to have Hintz as your third line center. Hintz will be in your top six. You don't have to worry about putting one of those guys on the wing to make room for Barkov, because obviously Barkov would be the first line center. Like, and maybe I'm talking out of my ass and just making like shit up, but I just think that could be like, that's an interesting point, at least to me, is like maybe one less cook in the kitchen simplifies things for Finland. I don't know. I'm just for all our Finnish viewers, I'm just trying to give you guys a little nugget. Something
they got the dangerous Blackhawk Teuvo Teravainen in there as well, so you never know what can happen. Yeah, he's probably not gonna do shit.
Oh, he'll be fourth line guy probably.
Yeah, I mean, if Rantanen, you know, you get like a line of like Aho, Rantanen, and Lehkonen that can, you know, work the boards well, but their defense, man, just I could see the defense struggling beyond.
It's not quite as good.
Yeah, just, you know, you'd have Miro Heiskanen and like Mikala out there, and then all of a sudden
playing 30 minutes.
Isa Lindell and Ristolainen, and it's, you know, serviceable players, but in terms of the other guys, it's just
I'm not
quite enough.
Bottom pairing like Oli Mata and Martin Paulo, like, or Henry Jokiharju, Blackhawk legend. Like I don't know. But I mean, look, they've got a full lineup of NHL talent, and like Czechia was going to be, when I was thinking about like making this video with you guys, I was thinking about, oh, should I have a cute take and like have Czechia in my bronze medal game? It's just like you can look at that forward group and think like, oh, you know, maybe if you just like really, really over deploy a top six with like Tomas Hertl and Marty Necas and Pasternak and Andre Palat, like you never know. Maybe they can. But when you look at that decor, it's like you got you got guys playing.
Radko
Radko Gudas is going to be playing 30 minutes a night for Team Czechia, or else you're going to have a guy playing from Billy Tigri Libirec. You know, it's like I don't even know what that is, let alone where it is. So. That would be a true Miracle on Ice story. I think if Czechia could win a bronze medal, that would be pretty insane. But I just like, yeah, when in these tournaments, in these games, I think defense is massively important. And like, I don't think Czechia's defense is nearly good enough.
Yeah, no, definitely leaves a lot to be desired for sure. I'm related though. One thing I don't really like is the fact that the USA don't really have any challenge whatsoever in the prelim games. They play Latvia, Denmark, and Germany. I guess Drysdale or something there, but like there's really not much to speak of there. It's like even Canada, like, they have a couple of tests there, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that. Like they play Czechia, for example. Like Sweden and Finland play each other. But yeah, USA don't really have one challenging game to speak of before the actual important games begin, which I don't know if I like that, to be honest with you. Yeah.
I think that's a fair point. Like not having any moment probably in the group stage where you're facing any sort of adversity.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like Ovi, maybe it's a good thing because you just blow everyone out and you just feel like nobody can touch you. Do you fall either way on that, or are we just
as long as you win those games the way you think you're supposed to?
Yeah.
If you all of a sudden, what do you say, Latvia is going to overtime and you're like, what's going on here, guys? And then the doubts start creeping in. But if you're winning every game like by 5 goals, you're laughing.
That's true. Yeah, I do see where you're going with that, Justin, though. Like, I do think sometimes early adversity in these tournaments for the top teams can be a good thing. And, like, I guess I can't think of an example off the top of my head in, like, the Olympics in past years.
Very prevalent in the World Juniors. Like,
yes, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah. World Juniors, and also, like, it's the same thing in, like, soccer. Like, Argentina just won the last World Cup, and they lost in the group stage to Saudi Arabia. And it was like after they lost that game, they went on a tear. And Lionel Messi was given a penalty kick in every single game he played. But this is not a soccer show. Yeah, I see what I like that point though, Justin. I think that's a fair thing. And if the US end up losing in the knockout stages, if you don't think that that's going to be a talking point, you're a fool. Like it's going to be, if US loses, it'll be, no adversity, no tough teams in the group stage. And it'll be Jason Robertson, Cole Caulfield, Jason Robertson, Cole Caulfield. Ovi, if Canada loses, which like Canada losing in the gold medal game would be considered a disappointing, it would be considered a disappointment. That's just the reality. And I put the USA in the same category. But if Canada does not win gold at this tournament, what are those talking points for Canada after the fact in your?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, it would obviously it would go down the selections. Bedard would be one of those names that is brought up alongside. There's a couple other names, but Bennett did end up coming. Jarvis ended up coming. So a lot. The Bedard narrative would be ridiculous.
I'm gonna run with that one.
Oh, yes, please give it to me.
Already, and non-Blackhawks fans too are already pretty upset that he wasn't one of the call-ups. And so there's some Canadians who have switched alliances because of that decision. I'm not quite there. Fuck it all. I'll back up Celebrini here, but yeah, it's going to be a pretty polarizing point. Like you said, anything other than gold is going to be disappointing, especially. I don't know. There's a lot of discourse, I think, with the Four Nations being so recent. There is I don't know if it's like extra pressure or there's more eyes on it or there's more it means more. The rivalry is more prevalent. It's fresher. It's more upset. There's going to be everyone on those teams remembers either winning or losing last year. And we said it last episode we were on, Lee, that whoever wins this, the Four Nations doesn't matter. Like the Four Nations immediately becomes the Mickey Mouse Trophy. And if you didn't win the big one this year, you didn't win. Yeah, maybe Matthew Schaefer too. There might be some people that are talking about Matthew Schaefer, but I get that a little bit more.
Yeah, if they're struggling to like move the puck up, and if US is like really able to hem them in their zone, and maybe just like not enough movement from the D in the offensive zone, I could see that. I could see like, oh, you really could have benefited from having Schaefer's legs to, help transport the puck and stuff like that.
Yeah. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of eyes on Celebrini, whether he does if he does really, really good, people are going to be all over that. And if he does not so great, people are going to, Blackhawks fans especially, are probably gonna be all over that. So
watch will be extraordinary.
I think Celebrini, just from a completely unbiased point of view, is just going to be an interesting player to see kind of what he does and how people react to it, and where the fact that he's on the first line with McDavid penciled in from day one is interesting. And it's still like, man, I can't imagine being 19 years old at the fucking Olympics playing with Connor McDavid. So yeah, that's kind of where my head is.
All right. Let's do some predictions. Justin, we'll start with you. Go gold and silver medal /Y, and then we'll do bronze medal, and then we can do individual awards after.
Oh man, this is hard, man. It's between USA, Canada. It could be a different country there, but I think this is meant to be a USA Canada gold medal game. Man, like it's like, do I go with my heart here or do I go with my brain? Like, as much as it pains me to say it, I think Canada takes gold. Just every time I get my hopes up for USA on the men's stage when it comes to these games, I always end up disappointed. So no gold medal since 1980, unless you count the 1996 World Cup of Hockey. They've been good in the junior levels, but hasn't quite translated to the men's stage yet. So I think both teams are incredibly even. I think USA has a slight edge on defense and in net, but I just think the firepower of the Canadians is going to be a little too much to handle. So I'll say that gives them the slight narrow edge, and I'll say they take gold over us, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong about that one. Hopefully it'll be a good old reverse jinx, but I'm not quite feeling it, unfortunately. It was very close last year, but yeah, I'm just not quite feeling it. Because while they made some strange decisions, I think we made some as well. I think leaving guys like Robertson at home is definitely questionable. It could come back to bite them. And I'll say Sweden takes bronze. Yeah.
Okay. Ovi?
Yeah, man. I might be a little too superstitious to even tell you who I think is actually going to win here. I'll tell you that I think it's going to come down to either Canada or USA. And I think that goaltending is going to be the catalyst of who ultimately goes home with the gold. More so meaning I think Canada's goaltending could play them into a gold medal position, or it could play them out of a gold medal position. And same with USA, more so I think on Canada's end. But, I think we're going to start Binnington game one. Maybe he gets hot and then loses it. I don't know. I still don't have 100% faith in all the goaltending that Canada has in comparison to what USA has. But I also know that it doesn't matter the stats of every goalie. It matters who plays the best during the tournament. So I think the teams will be even enough. The opportunities will be even enough. And I think it's going to come down to goaltending. And yeah, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Too superstitious, man.
Dude, you're crazy.
Too superstitious, man.
All right. Are you superstitious about the bronze medal then?
Sweden bronze medal, absolutely. Yeah. And I'll say if USA is to win a medal, the gold medal, sorry, I think you need to have a monster tournament from Austin Matthews. I think Austin Matthews
Now
needs
or
to,
never. Yeah.
he needs to be a two-way goal scoring clutch moment guy. If that can happen, I think there's a lot to worry about. So that would be obviously the path for Canada is McJesus and Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon. But I think if Matthews has a really good tournament, that could be a game changer.
We'll see if he can finally have his Patrick Kane moment. Yeah.
Exactly.
Look, I'm with you guys. I think it's destined to be a Canada USA gold medal matchup. I don't think it can be overstated how important that game would be for U.S. hockey. As a U.S. hockey fan, is someone who, like, the whole reason why I'm doing this is to try to grow the game and the fandom, more specifically in Chicago and Illinois, but in general in the United States. I want Team USA to win, and I think the USA team will win as well. Look, I predicted US to win last year in the Four Nations. They came up short. But I just think that, like, the depth that USA has, they have the goaltending, they have the blue line, they have the forward group, they have the two-way ability in the forward group. And I think what was missing from that Four Nations team that I don't think has been talked about enough is Quinn Hughes. Like, the United States did not have Quinn Hughes in that tournament. I think he will be the catalyst. We've seen what he's done for the Minnesota Wild since joining that team, the difference on the power play, the difference in the goal differential, not just offensively, but in his own end as well. I think having a healthy Quinn Hughes at this tournament will be what pushes the US over that line and is what makes them finally able to slay the dragon and beat Canada. And so, yeah, I'm predicting a United States gold medal. I think it's going to be a close game that's decided by a goal. But I think the U.S., when you just look up and down the lineup, there's nothing that you should feel unsure about. There's nothing that makes you feel uneasy. There shouldn't be any question marks. You've got the best goalies in the world. You've got the best defensemen in the world. You've got the best forwards in the world. It's so important. I think it's so pivotal. And there's an entire generation of kids, like, in high school that have, like, never witnessed this. I remember losing to Canada, that heartbreaking gold medal game against Canada, the Sid golden goal in 2010. I remember being at school in 2014 in Sochi and watching the US lose to Canada, like, heartbreaking moments. And honestly, if you look back at those teams, those USA teams, they were good, but it's not like what they have now.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the sports books. It's
not even close,
dude. And it's gonna be a pick 'em on the sports book. It's gonna be up in the air. It's gonna be 50-50. And look, I think this is the US's time. I'm not just saying that because I want it to happen. It is just what I feel is going to happen. And so I'm going to be rooting for it, but obviously it's going to be fun to watch. And then bronze medal. Look, I wanted to get cute and, like, maybe pick Czechia to be in there, but depending upon the seeding, I see it being Sweden, Finland, and I'm going to go with Finland. I'm going to go with Finland to win. I do just feel like maybe that Sweden team is a little too cute up front. I just feel like Finland's so good at, like, winning bronze medals. I feel like that's their MO.
Bronze medal merchants.
Yeah. Like, that'll be a fun game. Hopefully we're lucky enough for that to be how it all shakes out. US, Canada in the gold medal game, Sweden, Finland in the bronze medal game. I think all hockey fans would be pumped with that.
And how about a USA Canada overtime as well? That would be cinema.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if my heart could, like, deal with that. I'm sure I'll be streaming it, but because it's on a Sunday. It's on, like, the 22nd. It's a Sunday.
Sunday afternoon.
Dude, just thinking about that makes me uneasy, if I'm being honest with you. All right, before we get out of here, let's do some player awards. MVP of the tournament, and then let's do, like, best offensive player, best defenseman, best goaltender. Does anyone want to start?
I'll say, I feel like this is too easy. Like, I feel like this is a basic prediction, but this is really the first chance he's really had true best on best hockey. I think McDavid's going to absolutely eat this tournament alive. So I'll say he's MVP. Best forward. Would the forward be different than the first or the same as MVP?
Whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
you can spread it out. You can make it the same.
That'd probably be the same then. McDavid for forwards again. Defense, I'll say Quinn Hughes for the USA, and then in net, I will say. Well, Canada's taking gold, but I don't think it's going to be through goaltending. So I'll probably American goaltender again. Probably Hellebuck. Yeah. Although he's not always great when it comes to playoff play. So I don't know. We'll see about that one. Yeah.
Ovi, or do you want me to go?
Okay, no, I'm gonna go for the sole reason that this is quite possibly his swan song. This is everyone in that locker room is gonna be playing for him. It's 87. I'm going to give the tournament MVP in a poetic way to Sidney Crosby in what could very well be his final dance at a true trophy. He might be at the next Olympics, but he's getting up there, boys.
He is.
So I'm going to go Sidney Crosby for the tournament MVP. I agree with Justin that it's going to be Quinn Hughes. I think I like your take that he's just going to be very in your face, like, oh my God, where was he last year? That pairing legit scares the shit out of me of McAvoy and Hughes. So I'll go Quinn Hughes for the defenseman. And for goaltending, I think you get a sneaky pick out of like Czechia. Or something where a team that is facing a fuck ton of shots and there's like the goalie's keeping them in. So I'm gonna go. I'll get cute. And we'll go with Lucas Dostal.
Lucas Dostal, I love it.
The Czechia, he's just gonna have like a 75 save game, and like it's just that's gonna be it.
That fires me up. All right, I'm gonna separate best forward and MVP. Best forward, just for the sake of it, because I can. I'm going to go best forward. I'm going to go with Connor McDavid. Not, I know it's not like a hot take. I just think that Players Tribune article, he's the best player in the world. I think he's going to be going absolutely insane, absolutely nuclear this tournament. He's going to be my best forward, my best defenseman. I'm going to go with Quinn Hughes. Same reason why I gave for the U.S. winning gold. And then I think that Connor Hellebuck will and might need to be the best goalie in this tournament for the U.S. to win gold, i.e. go check out what Ovi just said about goaltending for that gold medal game. And since I think the USA is going to win, I'm giving Hellebuck best goaltender. And then for MVP, I'm going to go with Matt Boldy from the United States. I think as we kind of just glazed him, I think he's going to play a massively important role in every facet of the game for the United States. I think he's going to, we already see he's on that first line. I think he's going to score some big goals. I think he's going to make some good plays in his own end. And so I think he's going to win tournament MVP as a little dark horse there. All right, gentlemen, we're coming up on an hour. I think that was sick. I feel like I don't know about you guys. I feel like I got everything off my chest that I needed to. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap this bad boy?
Gonna be watching Miracle on loop for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I need to check out that document. They just made like a new documentary on Netflix about it. That's kind of like different perspective. I need to watch that before I go on vacation this week and before tournament play starts. Pretty exciting.
Who you guys got for the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, I guess that's happening tonight. I'm gonna go with
Seahawks.
Yeah, probably Seahawks by like a close game. Like I think the Patriots will cover the 4.5 point spread, but I think the Seahawks will win on like a final drive field goal or something.
I want the Seahawks, but I bet it's probably gonna be the Patriots again, but we'll see. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys, everyone, so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like the video. Make sure you subscribe to Justin and I's YouTube channels. It'll be in the description. And if you just click subscribe on this video, it'll subscribe to both of our channels. And then make sure you follow OviClapBomb on X. Again, I will have his Twitter linked in the description of this video. I hope everyone has a good week. I am going to be going on vacation on Thursday, so I'm going to miss the group play of this tournament, but I will be back for the knockout stage games. Hope you guys all have a great week. Thanks so much, and we will see you later. Peace.
Absolute cinema.